Well, I want to thank you both for joining me here in the spoiler room, more or less, to talk about your film Necropath. I did get a chance to see it. I found it really fascinating, and so I kind of wanted to talk to you about it today. Now, Josh, you are the director and writer, and Mo is the star of it. The anti-hero of sorts, though, for this film. So Josh, usually what I like to do is, if you wouldn't mind, give my listeners just a summary a bit of what Necropath is about.
I wanted to make a film that was it had to be a film based on zombies. When I first created it, it was for a film contest.
Mm.
And so Necropath is pretty much about how it's during a pandemic. And I wanted to create the focus on a main zombie character called Scag, because I don't think really zombie movies focus on the zombies themselves, more of the victims.
Mm-hmm.
So I created the first Necropath of this character named Scag, and he's kind of living in between life and death. Watching it, you don't know if he's really a zombie or not. There's so many different elements of the movie, and trying to think of how to go towards.
Not spoil too much, yeah, because it does have a lot of moving parts for sure.
Right, I wanted to think of what happens to like horror icons like Hannibal Lecter's and Michael Myers, like during emergency pandemics where everybody's evacuating their houses or apartments. Like they don't care about evacuating, they just do what they do. So that's where I created Scag to take that role, and we kind of follow him through the movie, who he attacks a couple families. He's kind of fueled by his drug addictions and his addictions for murder, and he has this psychosis when the siren goes off. It kind of sets him in this I don't know, it's this the psychosis state where he just loses his mind, and it feels like the siren just piercing through his skull, and that leads him, like, kind of triggers him to kill in a certain respects. And then he goes out and he hunts and he finds vulnerable people, and he's not aware of anything around him. He's kind of like animal in a way. So
yeah, now where did the idea of this come from? You mentioned you just kind of wanted to do a different zombie film. Was that kind of the main motivation, was just giving it from a different perspective? Because I was surprised by that going into it, because I kind of went into the film cold. That's the way I like to usually go and be surprised. And was that what you were going for? Is just because zombies have been done so often,
right,
you're always looking for something different.
Yeah, whenever I do anything like creative wise, like I do a Halloween attraction, a haunted house kind of thing called KO Industrial, and it's pretty much a haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going into it, I wanted to kind of have my own twist on it. So and then I did an escape room, and I did that in the same regards. I made an escape room, and I made that different. Instead of just walking into one room, I thought of adding like theater in it. So when I had to come up with a zombie kind of film, I wanted to think of what I want to say, like something different than what's been done. I didn't want to do a Walking Dead, character. I wanted to do something gritty, and the idea for Skag came about, and I just kind of rolled with it, and one thing led to another, and all these moral kind of dilemmas are stitched into the movie, that you'll see when you watch it. But I just kind of went from there with it.
Yeah, and you do take it in some interesting places. And now Mo, Skaggs he's not exactly a clean cut character at all. What drove you to want to play this role? Because this is definitely a gritty, grimy, slimy role.
I'm just used to pretty much being stereotyped into certain types of roles when it comes to movies anyways. So when Josh contacted me and told me that he wanted me to play his main villain, as soon as I heard villain, I didn't care what the hell I looked like. I just wanted to do it. because I'm like a character actor. If you told me to be in a film and I was just like someone's lover to some chick or something like that, I'd be bored with it. But as soon as when it's a character and you got to come up and get outside yourself, I'm all about it. So I didn't care if I got dirty. I didn't care what happened as long as I was playing something fun. So
well, it looks like you really got into the character. I mean, you just seem to go for the bleachers there with this role. What did you use to prepare for it? Because again, this is a crazy, druggy, psychotic thief killer.
yeah. Well, I am like a huge serial killer memorabilia type fanatic type thing. So I know, like, I go on YouTube and watch everything about serial killers. Josh sent me a bunch of videos from like Hellraiser, some scenes, this and that, telling me how he wanted me to act, to get an idea before we started. And once I figured out what he wanted and how I figured out how I can act it, it just came kind of naturally. I'm not saying I'm a natural psycho, but I mean, you can stand outside of yourself and play a character and just run with it, and it's a lot of fun. So,
well, there are definitely a wide variety of characters we come across in this. Josh, what was behind some of these families that you create? Because we don't really have your standard maybe happy family in this town at all. These families do have issues.
Yeah. You mean as far as like creating the?
Yeah, where'd you create the characters from? Did you pull from influences, people that you know?
That's funny. I kind of they kind of just unfolded itself in a way. Like the first family with Cassandra and the woman in the beginning with the little boy. I think that just kind of and I feel like the whole thing just kind of wrote itself in a way. I wanted to have Nathan Fadre too, who's the douchebag father kind of guy. I worked with him on Jeff's film. Jeff Orlowski, he was one of the producers. He did all the cinematography for the film too. I wanted to really work with him. And when I wrote the script for Necropath, I wrote it envisioning Nathan as that role. And I remember I asked Nathan at first, and he's like, "No, I can't do it." And because he lives in New York City. And then I got talking to Jeff about it, and Jeff's like, trying to give me different ideas, and I wasn't happy with any of them. And he's like, "You're not happy with any of them because you wrote it for Nathan," which was 100% true. So I ended up I asked Nathan again, and I made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
in true New York fashion, right?
Yeah. No, I just asked him, and he ended up coming up. He actually came up twice, believe it or not, and we shot till like almost daylight. It was excruciating, miserably hot and cold. It was insane. But the families, I don't know. I just kind of seen a family in the middle of a pandemic, and with like the little baby,
right.
And just writing, things kind of unfold themselves. So
now you do mention the filming. This film was pretty much all shot at night. What kind of challenges did that pose for you? Because I noticed there wasn't day for night, or at least it didn't look like it. If you did do that, it was really well done. But it was like all at night. What kind of challenges did that pose for you?
Well, my first challenge was I'm not a professional filmmaker by any means. I don't have connections. I don't know all this camera equipment. I don't have this crazy editing suite in New York City that I can go to. But my experience comes from doing I did commercials for my Halloween attraction. So, with that being said, I kind of just what do I want to say? Just kind of I don't know,
learned on the job.
Yeah, pretty much. So what do I want to say? I don't know. I think of the different challenges we came across. Like a lot of it was like the special effects and the actors and stuff like that. So, like just getting everything together. And one of the hardest parts, I'm sure every filmmaker experiences this, is just scheduling, like making sure you get all the shots you want in the day, and stuff like that. So that was probably one of the hardest things. And we had a strong crew, and we all worked together. We all put up with the ups and downs, like the heat, and sometimes it was cold. And yeah, just I think what made the film what it is just like the solid crew. So
yeah, you definitely have some great makeup effects in here as well. Especially on Mo. I mean, on Scags, I mean, how often did you get dirty? Like you just seem to get grimier and grimier as the film goes on.
Yeah, it was mainly all just makeup. I think maybe once or twice you see me laying on the ground or something. It's probably the only time I ever got truly dirty. But other than that, it was all makeup, and it was because of my aunt. My aunt was the makeup artist on the movie, so she did everything. And I'm not even kidding. It was like 3 hours. Once we got towards the end of the movie, like the last third of the movie, I would have to sit in a chair for 3 hours doing makeup just to get all of it on, all the track marks, the bullet holes, the stabbings, the wounds, the blood, everything. So it was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, well, again, you look like you're having fun. You're a scary individual, for sure. Now, Josh, with this script and this character, you do leave it kind of an enigma on whether or not Skaggs is a zombie or not. But you also have a couple other characters that are on the, I would say, Skid Row as well, that it's hard to tell if they're zombies or just folks who have had bad things happen to them. What kind of the motivation between that? Because it seemed like it really blurred the line there as the film went on.
Just the different characters of the film that are kind of like Skag. Yeah, the crackhead woman, she kind of is kind of like Skag, how Skag is, he seems like a zombie, but he's not a zombie, but they're all like fixated on something, like how zombies want brains, the typical zombies anyways, or they're rage induced. I kind of, as I got writing this, I'm like, I wanted to make these zombies kind of like they want something, like the crackhead wants this baby, like it's almost like the virus or whatever kind of recesses in their minds, like they're something they were addicted to, and you're suppressed in their minds, and kind of puts them in a volatile state. And like watching Skag as a zombie, or however his character is, he's like, just, he doesn't seem human at all. Just, he doesn't speak, he's animalistic. But the crackhead woman, she's kind of like searching for this baby, like this. And I've had people be like, what's the point of the baby, blah blah blah. But like, I want everybody to watch it like interpreting these things on their own, like maybe that baby was such and such. And so,
well, and Skaggs seemed to never get rid of his drive for two things: money, so he could get drugs. Mo, what was kind of the motivation behind that character? I mean, did you borrow from any characters you've seen in the past or whatnot? Because the addiction is very convincing in this film.
Well, I used to be like really into a lot of music, especially growing up as a teenager, getting into like really old music, like Pink Floyd, The Doors, things of that nature that my parents got me involved in. And I remember one time watching the Doors movie and seeing how, Jim Morrison, all those people are going through their drug stuff and this and that, blah, blah. And as soon as when he told me that I was going to be shooting heroin all the time, I just tapped into the Doors movie. I'm telling you right now, I've watched a lot of these reviews, and a lot of people keep asking if I'm a true drug addict. I am not. I've never done heroin. It's all acting. It's just, I love movies. I love TV shows. I can mimic a lot of stuff. So, But yeah, I mean, it was just something like I like stepping outside of my own boundaries and not, and not be myself in a movie. I like being a character actor, so it was a lot of fun doing.
Yeah, speaking of boundaries, Josh, when you're writing the script, you mentioned that it was writing itself, but did you ever get to parts that you're like, maybe I shouldn't put that in the script and leave that out, or did you just screw it, whatever, I'm just putting this in, they want to eat whatever, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a one part that just came to mind in particular when the crack hag woman gets shot in the pregnant belly and all her amniotic fluid starts pouring out. God.
Yeah.
Were you shooting it going, maybe I shouldn't be doing this? Oh, well,
Yeah,
here.
that was a great special effects, by the way. We had like three
Yeah.
people standing around her. One was like pumping the
Mhm.
the water stuff, and yeah, it was pretty fun. It was really fun doing all the special effects.
So did you have a hand in doing all the special effects then? You mentioned you do a haunted attraction as well. So because all the makeup effects and the practical stuff looked really good in here too.
Yeah, it was a good combination of everything. I think that made it achieve it. Kelly Finn Mozant there, she worked in a number of Jeff's films, and it got close to shooting time, and I was like, I need this and I need that, and Kelly was like, oh, I got it. Hey, look, I made this knife out of what is it, a paint stick, because I was actually going to call up someone I know in like the Halloween industry and say, hey, can you mold this knife for me? I need a knife really quick. And so we didn't have enough time, and then I was talking to her about it, and then she sends me a picture of a knife made out of a paint stick with like just like some foam or something wrapped
Sure.
around the handle, and I was like, oh my god, it's perfect. Yeah, she really went the distance for all three films. Actually, she worked on all three shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like it was combining that with the lighting, the sound effects, and everything, and so.
Now I was gonna say this does play out like, I mean, at one hand, the feel I got with the narrative was that it was a straight movie, but it did almost feel like an anthology of film of sorts. Is that how you wrote it, with the three different stories and just kind of hooking them together with Scags?
Yeah, so Necropath started when Jeff Orlowski he came to my Halloween attraction asking to shoot a scene for one of his films, and I got watching him on the film and do the scene, and I was like, you know what, I should ask him about doing a film, or doing films, because that was the main thing I wanted to do aside from my Halloween attraction. And so I just pretty much asked him, I was like, hey, you want to meet up and talk about films and stuff like that? So we got together at a local cafe and just, talked about whatever. I had a script in mind that I wanted to do, but it was like, full movie. So we're like, yeah, or no, he mentioned a film or a film contest called Empire State of the Dead. And we ended up working on that together, because Jeff was like, yeah, we have to make a zombie short for 15 minutes long or something like that. And so we're like, oh, this is perfect. I'll help you with yours. You help me with mine. And so we helped each other out. And then that's how pretty much the sorry, can't talk. Necropath started.
Sure.
And because in the contest, Necropath won first place, and then his film won second place. So second place. And then what do I want to say? And then from there, once the film, it won another festival, Terror Film Festival. It won that, and best acting, or best supporting roles, and it won best director. I forgot what else. And then so we were like, oh, we should do part two, because I love the character Skag Mo, and Mo, the way he portrayed Skags, he like blew it away for me. And then so we did a part two, and then we did a part three, which was longer and a lot more special effects. The third one actually starts. The third short actually starts as soon as you see the family start walking down the street.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah, the family had young performers in here, as well as some veteran actors, but had some kid actors in here as well. And did that pose an additional challenge considering the subject matter and the film that you had, or were there any additional challenges because you did have a couple of younger cast members in
Yeah.
a pretty extreme horror film?
Yeah. Doing or working with kids in film, I'm sure a lot of people can attest to this, is very complicated. Oh my
Mhm.
God. They're tired, they're hungry, they're feeling sick, one thing after another. And then when it comes time to act, it's like they just want to mess around the whole time. Oh, it was a nightmare to work with, but we pulled it off. So
I was gonna say you did pull it off. Now, Mo, how about you with working? Because you get, especially in the third act, you get a lot of scenes with the Lost Girl,
Yeah.
played by Lillian. You two seem to play off each other well, and that what kind of challenges are there when you're working with a young cast member, and have you worked with young cast members before this film?
No, this was the first film actually, but with her it was really simple.
Mhm,
If she didn't quite get something, she was more than willing to listen and just let you direct her. You know what I mean? She was not hard
mhm,
really at all. So me and her had a lot of fun, basically trying to me hunt her down and her being scared and running away or whatever. But other than that, no, she was great.
mhm.
yeah, like with now that we're talking about Lillian Colvin, she was the lost girl in the film. She did this was her first time ever acting, and she did a phenomenal job, from what I thought. And she just nailed all the scenes. She got like facial expressions, yeah, everything, and she just nailed it all. She was a little nervous sometimes, but
Mhm.
actually some of the shots that I used were, she was like kind of practicing it, and I liked it when she was practicing it better than when she actually did the scene. There's actually a shot where she's trying to get the gun to
Mhm.
work, but that was us just like kind of testing the shot, but we are recording it anyways. And she like going like, oh, I got it. And I actually ended up using that shot in the film.
Well,
So
it worked really well, and I did like that dynamic, that whole cat and mouse play really added some tension to it. Now the locations that you picked here, some of those were very interesting. Did you have
yeah.
locations in mind, and how tough was it to find locations for what you wanted to shoot?
Yeah, we shot it all at my old location for my Halloween attraction, and
Ah,
it's in a pretty really dilapidated warehouse. I think it's condemned right now, but yeah, it's like half fallen down.
mhm,
But I just kind of ventured through there and found different spots to shoot it.
mhm.
The first scene we did in there was a old bathroom. Yeah, the dingy old bathroom. That's like one of the first scenes you see in the film. And then other scenes were like shot in the top floor of the warehouse, and
Mhm.
pretty much the whole movie was pretty much shot in or around the building. So
Oh
kind of
wow.
lucked out. Yeah, we kind of lucked out with locations. So
I was going to say that did work out because you couldn't tell the way the location is with the mom and the young kid and the police officer. That first story, it feels like it's a completely different spot
mhm.
than where you shot the rest of it. So I like that quite a bit, and that yeah, it was handled really well. And Mo for that location, when you're shooting at a place like that, is it a little tough to concentrate to make sure you're being safe, but also staying in the Scags character? Or
Nah, not at all. I was an actor for his attraction for a couple
Mhm.
of years, so I was used to the location. I knew what I was
uh,
doing, where to go, what so it wasn't bad at all. It was a lot of fun. The only challenge that there was like the second half of the movie where they're all like in a basement.
mhm.
That was being shot like in March where it was freezing cold and it was bad. And then when you get to the last part of the movie where we're chasing each other through a warehouse, that was the next following year. And that was in August where it was so hot. But we worked through it. We had a lot of fun doing it. So to me, the only challenge I had was just temperatures between the
Mhm.
different years because it was like 4 years that we shot the movie. So every year it was a different month or something, and we'd have different temperatures had to deal with. And me, I was the only one not wearing a shirt half the time, and I got holes in my jeans, and I'm like barely wearing anything, and it was freezing cold or really hot. But it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say your wardrobe didn't amount to much, so that must have been a bit of a challenge for
Yeah,
temperature wise.
yeah, it was.
Would shoot it at night. Now, Josh, when you do shoot a film like this, now it may have did it help that it was kind of separate stories that you linked together with Scags to shoot over the course of that year? I mean, what kind of challenge did that pose for you?
Um, Pretty much just making sure everybody looked the same, which
Mhm.
I don't want to point them out because if people, if I do, then everybody's gonna notice when they're walking through.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, there's a couple of what is it, continuity,
Mhm.
minor continuity, if I can call it that.
Well, you are shooting at night though, so it does cover it up a little bit, right?
Yeah,
You could get
that was the biggest thing I was worried about, is just making
Mhm.
sure people are the same. But um, yeah, if I had to go out and say one of them is the people's hair, like
Mm, sure.
sometimes hair is here, and the next scene it's down to here, and the next scene is up to here. But you can't really tell because it's all scraggly, gnarly, anyways. Like when because it what Mo, what did they put in your what did she put in your hair? Like
Conditioner, just regular conditioner
just
to make
make it
my
all
hair look greasy. Yeah,
greasy. Yeah, so you can't really tell his length, but yeah, it's pretty
there's just
yeah,
a lot of conditioner, a lot of it.
yeah.
There was a lot of it, yeah. But it works. You can't tell, and I think with the shadows and that of the the shoot that you have with the at night, I think it helps cover some of that too, though. You don't notice it as much because you do have a lot of action going on as well. For your cinematography, did you do a lot of storyboarding with this film, or did you just kind of have an idea of what you wanted and then wait till you got to the location and see if you could do it?
Yeah, I drew up a lot of storyboards. They're uh, Jeff used to have a good laugh and make fun of me when when I was showing him the shots and stuff like that. Like certain angles and stuff that I wanted in particular, and it's like stick figures and yeah. I think I drew Mo's character as like kind of an upside down triangle, like just kind of a narrow kind of. It's almost like the Scream face. It's almost kind of shaped like that in a way. Like when I was quickly drawing all the pictures and stuff like that. And, yeah, so we storyboarded a lot of the whole film. So
Uh,
I
I,
just
I I
that.
think Mo could pull off the scream face if you
Yeah.
you get a little bit of that in Skags. So yeah, and it is got a surreal feel to it. Was that what you were going for as well? Because this feels I mean, it still feels like it's reality, but it does have a little bit of fanciful angle to it as well, in a way. Were you going kind of for that feeling with it, or
Yeah, well, I guess what when I made this film, it kind of I felt like a lot of my Halloween haunted. I hate calling it a haunted house, but it gets the point across. Like the haunted working in this business so long with the droning noises and the lights. Like the lights are a lot of colored lights and
sure.
flashing this and stuff like that. I think a lot of that rubbed off into the movie, and so I think that's why a lot of it came out the way it did. And I also wanted to make something like kind of dreamlike and trancing that just kind of suspends you in a way. And like through the whole movie, you're kind of like stuck in this, it seems like kind of stuck in Skag's void in a way. And like what I watched your description of it, you
Yeah.
feel like dingy and grimy is, like you're saying stuff like that. And so like and after it ends, the final scene, it just kind of it, it's like a break, a
Sure.
sudden break that you're not expecting. And I go to the ending of the movie a lot and just watch it over and over again a lot because yeah, I like that. It's pretty wild. So
So Mo, I keep calling you Skank. I apologize. I just I
It's
see
all good,
I
man.
I see the character, and you're with him for so long, but conveying that griminess and that that feralness to him. Where did you pull that from? Because I felt grimy just being around, just watching the character. I felt grimy. I mean,
Um, well, mainly like I said, I've been doing a couple of different movies here and there, but I never had like a full-time role until Josh gave me like the main role. But I've always liked acting, and I've always liked being a villain because I just kind of have that look. I've always been stereotyped it. So when he gave me this role and told me exactly what it needed to be, it was almost like, okay, it's like I'm going after my brothers. I got 3 younger brothers who used to, antagonize the crap out of each other. It just seemed natural just to do it, which is kind of creepy because I'm really a nice guy in real life. I'm not going to like stalk you or kill you or anything like that. But then, like, the more that I started working with Josh also on his attraction and doing other things for his haunted attraction, it just made me hone a lot more into it. And then that's why, like, you can see me kind of starting out in the movie. It's kind of like somewhat primal, but it's kind of like, but once you get to the end, I'm like full blown serial killer. I know what I'm doing. It's horrifying, but like I said, I've seen a lot of these different reviews, and everybody's wondering if I'm a true, heroin addict or if I've gone out and killed somebody or whatever. It's all acting. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, it just comes across. I'm like, how do you do that? But you made me feel grimy. So it just in a good way. I mean that in a good. That's what you want with the character because you're following the monster, as I put it, the monster among monsters, which is what he really is in many ways. And then you get to this ending, and man, this ending, you've got a lot going on, and then you get to the final scene. How much planning did you have in that, Josh? Because that final scene, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but let me just tell you, it does not go the way you expect it to go at all. I'm like, okay, the way it's cut. I mean, how much planning did you go with that? And is it an ending that you always wanted to do, or was it one that did you maybe question, should it actually end it this way?
I think I wrote it to look different than it actually was supposed to be, but I think it just kind of unfolded that way after I started finishing up the script. I forgot how I ended it before, or ended it in the actual, like, the first time, but after, I'm like, oh my god, that would be perfect. And that like the ending, the very last shot just kind of encapsulates like the whole film in a way. Like, all the characters are there, and the baby.
And the baby. And you do also do a subtle thing right at the beginning of the last scene that just I was surprised quite a bit in a good way. I always like when films surprise me, and yours did in a number of spots, especially. Now, Mo, what did you think when you saw the film complete and saw yourself as Scags on screen?
I was worried that my parents would be like, that's not who I raised, but they knew it was a movie.
Sure.
I'm not one of those type of actors that can't like look at myself on cam. I want to see the movie. I want to see what it's all about. Because when you're acting, you can kind of have like the memories of acting, but then once you see it on a screen, it's like a whole different experience. And I love it. I love doing it. So you don't know how many times I've seen this Necropath movie with friends and family over and over and over again. I love watching it, and I love just listening to everyone's reactions to it. And I always get the same questions. Have you ever done heroin, and have you ever killed anybody? No. But it's just acting. It's fun though.
You get those people that scooch away from you on the couch once they start watching. You're like,
yeah. I'll just look at them with the eyes, and they just like they freak out. It's pretty funny though.
It really started out with when I met Mo. He's like, how can I do heroin and how can I kill people? And I was like, well, you have a great alibi. We'll just make a movie.
Yeah, really.
Just tell people it's for the movie.
And the actors were never seen again.
Yeah.
See, that's another movie right there. So, Josh, what kind of horror films do you enjoy watching? I imagine you're a fan, being involved in making these attractions and such. What kind of horror films really appeal to you?
I don't know if it classifies as a horror movie, but I'd say probably one of my number one favorite movies of all time is Terminator. So
nice. Yeah, Terminator. I enjoy Terminator and Terminator 2. And there's always that debate. Is it horror or is it action sci-fi? And
right.
I'll say the first Terminator. I'll go. It's a horror thriller.
Right.
You know, just the way it's directed and handled quite a bit. It's pretty intense and scary. Somebody coming after you. Bo, what about you? You a horror fan? And what kind of horror films do you like?
I am actually not a horror fan. I'm a
Really?
sci-fi and an action fan. I just do horror because it's fun to act, to do it. But normally I love Star Trek. I like a whole bunch of different other stuff. I
Sure.
love the Terminator movies too, things like that. As long as it's more sci-fi than anything. Like I love the
Sure.
Matrix. But when it comes to horror, I've never really been a horror fan at all.
Mhm.
So
The Alien movies?
Aliens are all right,
Yeah.
it's not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm not like constantly trying to watch it. For me, it's mainly like I nonstop watch Star Trek like every year, all the TV shows, all that stuff. I love Stargate, the TV shows. I love Supernatural, the TV shows. I'm more of a
Mhm.
TV show guy than anything than movies, but I've never really truly been a horror fan. But I like acting in horror movies because it's just fun to do something that you normally would never do.
Which I find really impressive, because usually those who are acting in horror films are horror fans, so they pull from other influences. But Star Trek, yeah, they got some scary episodes. I'm a big Trekkie. I'm old school Trekkie, but I haven't watched any of the new stuff. But yeah, and the Stargates too. Yeah, that's all great stuff. Fun stuff that have some horror or thriller elements to them, for
Like,
sure. So.
yeah, two other movies are I watched it as a little kid, Stephen King's Carrie.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
I
yeah,
don't know if it's 70s or whatever, but
Yeah.
that movie inspires me a lot. Just the whole feel of the film, and Exorcist 3, actually. I love that movie.
I've
It
never seen Exorcist, never seen it, and I can't watch it. But
Part 3 with
part
George C. Scott. Yeah.
I remember when that came into theater. I've actually got the movie poster for it.
Oh,
It's really interesting when people talk about Exorcist. A lot of Exorcist 3 comes up quite a bit
really?
with it. Actually, when I talk to people, they're like, "Oh yeah, I
Really?
love Exorcist," but they love Exorcist 3 as well. You never, everybody kind
Wow.
of ignores Exorcist 2.
Part 2, yeah.
But yeah, Exorcist.
Exorcist 3 is kind of like the Joker of the whole Batman
Mhm.
thing, like the Joker movie, obviously the Joker movie that came out, like it goes with it, but it doesn't go with it. And it's kind of like how Exorcist 3, I kind of felt like it's like it goes with the Exorcist, the ones before it. But at the same time, it's like its own movie in a way.
Yeah, it's a good companion piece for sure. And
Yeah.
and that one was actually one I think I felt was a little more mainstream than necessarily Exorcist. As far as commercial wise, I think I felt it was a little more of a commercial product, because I remember it coming to the theaters and actually being a big deal. Exorcist
Mhm.
3 coming out. And then there were the other Exorcist movies, but so, what do you think of the idea that they're going to do a remake of The Exorcist into, I think it was a series, did I read? A
Oh,
TV
really?
series? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
hear about
Yeah.
But when they do stuff like that, I don't think they can capture the original grittiness or whatever, of the original. You just can't, because of standards in
Yeah.
filmmaking now.
Yeah, you can't. But I think that's what makes the film like what it is. Like
Mhm.
when they try to redo movies, they'll like one of the Terminators, they'll well, I don't want to focus on that in particular, but just like when they remake movies in general, they'll add like these girls with like beautiful hair,
Mhm.
big boobs, sexy. The guys will be like these big masculine pretty boys. And then I think that's what kills the movie. It's like when you watch the original Carrie, it's like it's a gritty movie. I mean,
Mhm.
um the
Realistic looking characters more so
yeah,
than what you get.
trying to think of the main actor's name and
Sissy
Carrie.
Spacek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I mean, she's pretty in her own way, but she's not like a bombshell kind of girl strutting around with,
Yeah.
like she's like, I think if they got a girl like that, then I think the movie wouldn't have been what it is, but like yeah, that's what I think, that when they redo movies, I think they're
Mhm.
totally missing the point.
Well, there's always that debate between Hollywood horror and other horror, and that's why I'm happy to have and get a chance to talk to individuals like you, both Mo and Josh, about this, because indie films, you have a little more freedom, it seems like, to where you can break away from tropes, and you can choose to have your villain be the main character in a zombie outbreak film.
Right.
Yeah.
So Bo, you're not a horror fan, but did you watch any zombie films or anything
Oh,
before?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Dawn of the Dead and
Mhm.
Day of the Dead. I saw most of those videos or whatever movies. I love The Walking Dead. I watched that TV show,
Mhm.
But if I was to pick, like say a couple of movies are on a shelf and one was sci-fi, action, comedy, whatever, I would pick the sci-fi or the action. I probably wouldn't even pick the horror. But but yeah, I mean, I'll still watch it as long as if I know it's becoming epic and a lot of people are watching it, I'll go watch it. But I'm
Sure.
just not much of a horror fan.
And did you use some of those for your influence for your characters then, or do
Um,
research?
Yeah, like so Josh gave me a couple of scenes to watch. One of them
Mhm.
was a pinhead scene where this guy was literally tearing himself up on a mattress or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, so I watched that and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So he mainly wanted me to be more like not contortionist, but like just rigid a lot,
Mhm.
and thinking about like I don't care about anybody. I don't even care about my own self. So like if I get hurt, I'm not gonna like cry about it. I'm gonna freak out and try to go after someone because of it. And so when I started seeing that, and then he started telling me, think about serial killers too and how they might act, it just all came together. It
Sure.
wasn't really that hard. It was pretty
Mhm.
easy to come up with, to become Scags. And I remember there was once or twice because we had to shoot the movie through 4 years
Right.
because we had to sit there and like he was worried about his attraction too, so we'd have to work on his attraction. Then if he had some time off, we do the movie. So it took 4 years to do it. And there was a couple of times where he's like, "Can you still be Skags?" I'm like, "Grr," and I take the teeth out really quick, and I'm in. So it was really fun. I love playing Skags. I wish I can just run around the streets, but I'd probably get arrested for it. Being Skags, but it'd be fun.
Depends on the time of day and what year, what day of the year it is. Maybe on New Year's you could get away with it.
Yeah, right. Here's when the ball
Reprise.
drops, start attacking people. But yeah.
Reprise Skags, absolutely. So this has been great, and now I was wondering what's next for you. We'll start with you, Josh. What do you got lined up next for you now that Necropath is out there for the masses to consume? What's next for you?
Uh, I'm working on another Necropath idea because I can't get the idea out of my head. So I want to keep working with the character, and then another psychological horror film series that also has a main horror icon kind of character. Um, and it's more like poetic kind of horror in a way, like the way it's gonna be shot and everything like that. So, and my friend makes a lot of it's like industrial. Uh, what do I want to put it? It's like industrial metal music,
Mhm.
but it's kind of like his own thing. It's amazing music. His name's Mikhail Nieves. He actually did the theme song for Necropath. It
Oh,
plays
nice.
plays in like certain parts. I think
Mhm.
more, yeah, like certain parts of the film. Forgot where I put it, but uh, I want to embed his music into this psychological character that I created. This horror icon character.
Nice. And
So,
Mo, how about you, sir? What's up next for you?
Well, as of right now, I'm taking a break because I have some health issues, but I
Mm.
will try to get back into working with Josh for some of these movies to reprise the role for Skags if he wants me back. Um, but other than that, I mean, normally I would do like one movie a year. I was pretty active since 2012, but 2 years ago, I got diagnosed with Meniere's disease, so I've been having some dizzy
Mm.
spell, issues and
Sure.
things of that nature. So I've been trying to take some time off and try to get myself back to normal, but it's kind of hard. But I spent 2 years off not acting, and now it's driving me crazy. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get back into that because it's a lot of fun. I'm telling you, if you guys don't act, try acting. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I can't see anyone playing Skags but you, sir. So if that's a plug for you,
I was actually telling someone that like with Skag 2, I'm like, Robert Englund is Freddy, like Pinhead is Doug Bradley, like, and it's for Skag, Mo is that character. So
Great. Well, now licensed to shill, gentlemen. Mo, is there anywhere where people could keep track of what you've done? You got a website or anything where people can follow you? You're licensed to shill, sir. So
Well, I have an old YouTube channel for gaming, but that's like obsolete. But if people want to see some funny stuff with Grand Theft Auto and stuff, you can go to Cemetery Rust Games on YouTube. I have another YouTube channel called Rusty Entertainment, but it's kind of stalled out at the moment too. But that's all like live action stuff. A couple of things I did through college. Other than that, I just got a TikTok, so you can find me on TikTok. Just look for Cemetery Rust.
nice. And Josh, how about you, sir? Do you have a website or whatever people can follow up? Licensed to shill, sir.
yeah, my main hub, I guess, is under my horror realm, I should say. It's KO Industrial, CAYO Industrial.com, and that's where I have links for the film Necropath, for the escape room called Atrophy Escape Ward, which is in Rome, New York, in upstate New York. And it also has information about my KO Industrial Halloween attraction, and you can reach me through the website or on Facebook too, KO Industrial, CAYO Industrial. And we also have Necropath, Necropath Horror Film, it's called, on Facebook. And I answer all the emails and everything. So
nice. Well, thank you very much, both of you. I'll put links in the page for this episode to all of that great stuff. Folks, check it out. Check out Necropath. It's now on your pretty much most VOD channels, I would say, right, Josh?
yeah, it's on Amazon, YouTube, on our Facebook page too, and the KO site. We have links to all the streaming. But if you go to streaming on your own, it's on Vimeo, Xbox. I think everything.
pretty much wherever you could get video on demand. I mean, heck, you're in quarantine anyway. What better way to spend it than spend a night with Scags, right?
Yeah. The coincidental thing people ask too is like, they're like, oh, what perfect timing to make a film about the pandemic, during a pandemic. And I was like, well, we actually shot this before the pandemic started. So
it's almost prophetic, though we don't have a lot of zombies running around yet, or guys running around in studded masks and
yeah, I know, right?
Urge like it.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, and I think we'll just say good night, everyone. So
Thanks, Mark.
You bet.